sad. That's an even sadder poem. This is from our friend Doug Jenner. Before I do this, I need Polly. Polly's going to come up. Polly's Doug's daughter. Doug's in England. Been living there for a long time, but he was a great mate of Johnny's. Great fiddle player, singer, songwriter. Okay, so Polly Jenner, folks.
And I do have a lot of very fond memories of Clough myself. Last year when I first moved to Sydney, I went out for a drink with Clough and Leyney, and after a few pints of Guinness, I suggested that, I suggested that it might be time for me to switch to half pints, and he looked quite concerned at me and said, I don't want to get you drunk. And I realised I was being outdrunk by a 92-year-old. I think I'll have a couple of pints from him today. So this is something from my dad. I first saw Johnny Clough in the First Castle when my duo got a gig there. I announced a song which wasn't going to be a folk song, but he thought it was. It was Ewan McCall's School Days Over, and it seemed to bring a tear to his eye, hopefully for good reasons. I saw him a lot after that, at the Friday singing session at the Glengarry in Redfern. He always asked for that song. Give us school days, comrade. School days over. Come on then, John. Time you were getting your pit boots on. No wonder he loved it, I guess. It was part of his story too. I became one of John's good mates. Once, after a trip away, I gave him a lift from somewhere or other down to the First Castle. I confided that my money was running short, and I was worried. He shoved a couple of lobsters, $40, into my hands. I wouldn't take it back. I always caught up with John on my return trips to Oz, and he visited us and got to know the family well, and they him. He gave both kids an opal each from Lightning Ridge. Polly now has hers made into a beautiful ring. The central theme of my tribute, the Ballad of John Clough, is about his complete integrity and the purity of his spirit. I love John Clough like I've only loved a handful of others, and I know that many others feel the same. So here's to all that, to Phil Oakes, to Guinness, and to the beautiful man that was John Clough.
Thanks, Polly. Beautiful. Okay, this is Doug's poem. The Ballad of John Clough. Young John Clough of Seaham Town heard the call and he went down. Down to the Seaham pits went John. Young Clough was true and the truth went on. Like Durham lads long down the line, he laboured hard in the coal pit mine. Apprentice joiner, that was John, and John stayed true and the truth went on. John Clough knew it was time to go, away from the pit prop work below. Knew it was time to travel on. John Clough was true, and the truth went on. John lit out from Seaham mine, set sail south on the South Sea brine. Sailed for Australia, he was gone. John Clough was true, and the truth went on. Queensland's sweetheart caught John's eye, beaten for a commie by and by. Copper bashed and put upon, but Clough stayed true, and the truth went on. In Sydney town, John plied his blaze trade. In comradeship, he lived and played. To love and laughter built upon, John Clough stayed true, and the truth went on. John stayed Union down the years, staunch with the Green Band Fusiliers, stood with Bob and Jack and Joe against the developers, toe and toe. Stood with Joe and Bob and Jack, halted the dozers, turned them back. To the age-old land he walked upon, John Clough stayed true, and the truth went on. His mates knew music, that John's soul filled his spirit and made him whole. Music made him, that was John. John Clough was true, and the truth went on. John Clough quaffed porter, roared at jokes, knew his ashes from his oaks. The one man's voice he fixed upon was John Clough's truth, and the truth was John. At Redfern Castles, John held court. Many's the singer was pulled up short. Who's that squinting when we sing? Some lord or monarch, a local king? No, that's no monarch calling out. That's John the Gentle, full of stout. John the Gentle, gentle John, eyes a twinkle, as his truth goes on. John Clough gave his last 2 bob, rushed to work on a comrade's job. Over a drink he lingered on, shared his truth, so his truth went on. Happy in Eddie Ward's backyard, no woman or man to John was barred. Staunch and faithful, on and on, John Clough was true, and his truth goes on. Good one, bud. Beautiful. Okay, mate Martin, ready? Aunt Doherty in the house? There he is.